Probably felt a whole lot better about how your team played versus the previous week, given all the stops and didn't bend but didn't break.
Yeah, we just haven't put it all together yet. A lot of good snaps, got a lot of good grades, a lot of guys doing a lot of good things, but just the 75-yard drive late in the second quarter and the 88-yard drive there at the end of the fourth quarter, you'd like to erase both those, but a lot of good play in between, and just got to find a way to come up with takeaways. And that was too many yards on the ground for us. I think it was 5.3 per rush is too many, and had some force issues on the perimeter, had some missed tackles, and popped some gaps. So a lot of good teaching tape, and continue to get better.
Why do you think the defense has failed to force a turnover in 2 games?
That's a great question. I mean, we've stressed it. I think it's gone back all the way through maybe the last 10 games. We haven't won the turnover battle. I think maybe some of the guys trying now, not last year, but now maybe trying to get settled in at their spots. I think knocking the ball loose, at least making plays. Justice had his hands on another, should have been an interception, just like he had the week before. I don't know if it's lack of confidence or what it is, but we've got to find a way. And I think just odds are surely going to swing our way one of these days.
The degree to which you substituted your role so much from the very first series, is that something that you might continue going forward? Is that for freshness?
Yeah, no, it's to stay fresh. Some of those spots, Don, we've got to stay fresh, especially with the middle pieces. I think there's still some guys where we've got a three-man rotation at the inside linebacker spot with Aguavin being the swing guy like he was last year. Still trying to get a couple guys like Malik Jenkins and Sam Matoy. We got to get those guys a little bit more prepared to get into the game. I think the safeties are probably playing too much. They're getting worn down in those 10, 11, 12-play drives, trying to maybe find a way to get those guys a little fresher. But the front, for sure, I think Brandon Jackson played too many snaps. We're rotating with Kenny and Austin Stewart, and a lot of those guys are playing a lot of snaps on special teams as well. So we're just trying to, once they get tired in a game, they're going to be tired for the remainder of the game. So we're just trying to be smart with them early.
Keelan McElrath got credit for 8 tackles, which is a lot from that position. What kind of
he did well. He started at nose guard, and he's a piece that. And then when we went to the big package, if we were seeing a big personnel group, and he went to the 3 technique, so he's playing both for us right now. Felt like he was the best nose guard prospect for us. We're still a little thin with DA having to play the 3 technique, and we're going to try to get away from doing that moving forward. DA is more of a defensive end 5 technique, but McElrath played pretty well. I think Marcus Smith took a step forward. I think he had 18 snaps and played more active in the middle. Still need Brandon Thorpe to come on. He's probably the least behind of that group, but starting to have some progress in the middle. I think 8, Don, and we'd want to be able to spot him in for a couple plays and get him out. He had a really good week of practice. He came to us last Monday and said he thought he could help, and we said, prove it. Do it in practice and be steady with it. And he's starting to mature and starting to advance, and that'd be huge if he could give us 8, 10, 12 snaps a game.
What do you think about the play of your interior linebackers?
It was solid. We had some fit issues on some of that, but they all graded pretty good. Micah graded good. Aguavin played active. He was playing fast, and VJ played a good game too. So again, you look across the board, and there were a lot of good grades individually, and then there's some pieces missing on some of those long runs that you all saw that we needed to get cleaned up.
How satisfying is it to see your safeties, as part of your scheme, but them to have the ability to come down and fill those gaps to help in the run stop. How are you going to move forward with that as well this week?
Yeah, we just, I think JJ's a little bit light. I think Keenan's done a really good job. Both those guys, if it gets to the third level and they miss, then we're in trouble, which happened a little bit. We're getting a lot, but they gave us a lot of cracks, so our corners needed to show up with quicker force and quicker support. But both those guys are playing. JJ played well, and Keenan played well for the most of the game, and then we still had some breakdowns. But Josh Keys, Jalen Barnes still need to rise their game up, and we got to get them in more, especially against Arkansas and some of these physical run teams that we're going to see. All those guys are going to have to contribute.
What challenge does an offensive line like Arkansas, both size and skill?
Yeah, I mean, just same stuff. We've been a little undersized here. We recruited to bolster our front. So, technique, pad level, getting off blocks, and making sure that the run fits at the second and third levels are appropriate. And we got to do a great job of gang tackling because they've got 3 really good running backs that have made a lot of people miss. Obviously with what we've had issues with, they'll come in here and try to jam it down our throat. We're gonna do whatever we can to stop the run. So I mean, we've committed to a lot of guys in the box, whether that's an 8 or 9 man front, which hangs the corners out a little bit. But there's no secret in what we're doing. We'll have to scratch where we itch. We'll have to keep them guessing a little bit. But we're gonna commit everything we can to stop the run.
I noticed a whole lot, especially early on the other night. You were 8 and 9 men up close, or 25 yards on the line.
Right. Pretty heavy, and I mean we're always watching that to make sure to start the series. Are we in quarters? Is it a 9-man front versus 21 personnel? Sometimes we're playing 4 under 3 deep, which either way the corners are either in man or in third. So some of the quick routes that you saw off of play action or some of their nakeds. The corners are really manned up out there. So, we're going to commit to stop the run. That's what we said all along. And I think we just had some fit issues, and of course, some perimeter stuff. We had some issues with the cracks.
Is there an example, maybe in your coaching career or game film, you can put on for the guys that proves that speed can agitate that size?
Yeah, I think our guys have seen here. If we're playing aggressive and we're moving enough and just playing with an attitude, I think our guys came out. We had a different look in our eye as far as how the huddle looked, taking the field on Saturday night as opposed to the opener. I thought we never lost rhythm with that. Those guys were challenging one another. And I think over the long haul, the guys that have been here know that when we have played with an attitude and we've played aggressive and we've gotten guys to the football, that we can have success.
The defense obviously on the field for 2/3 of the game. It looked like they settled down in the middle part. But how much of the fourth quarter struggles, how much of that was just fatigue?
I don't know if there was really any. I don't know if you can say it was fatigue. Going back to the rotation, I think we stayed fresh. I think battling through adversity, the fourth down and 8 when we were in a punt safe situation. Should have been out of that drive, would have had the ball back. I think if Justice just comes down with the interception at the 50-yard line, that whole thing probably swings. We're up by 10. Offense has the ball back, but those are things we've got to push through and finish. We gave up points on the back end of that drive, and then we gave up the long drive really with the game on the line. Up by 4, I think it was. They needed a touchdown, and we let them go the length of the field. That was the most disappointing part of the whole night. But hats off to our guys on a short field with 2:30 left to go in the game to end it on 4 straight downs. I was proud of them.
For, to get some turnovers.
Yeah, that's a great question. we stress it every day, Betsy. We do a takeaway circuit weekly, twice a week. Keep harping it. keep stressing it, keep pointing it out on film, and really not to make tackles, but second and third guys coming in and really with an attitude that we're not just going to be involved in the play, but we're going to get in there violently to jar the ball loose.
Guys, you talked a little bit about it there, but defense working so hard. How good was it to see them get that stop at the end and seal the game for you?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I think, we played really well in parts. I think, Don, you mentioned that. There were sections that were really good. There were some 3-and-outs. We challenged them at halftime. Let's get the ball back to the offense. This is kind of on us. We had a good first half other than the 75-yard drive. I was proud that a couple of those drives that went inside the 10, we bowed our necks like we talk about and forced some field goal opportunities or field goal block opportunities for us to kind of keep us hanging around in that game early. But to finish it off the way we did, and really they took the field with a lot of energy after giving up the long kickoff return. We were in good shape. You could see they were poised and took the field like we were gonna. Like we wanted that moment, and so that was the most proud I think I've been in a long time here with these guys.
About the Justin Stockton touchdown, and just from snap all the way to finish, and what you liked about that play.
Yeah, really good. I mean, Justin did a great job of pressing the zone and holding the backers inside, and then popping it outside. The biggest thing that popped on film was Devin Lauderdale got 2 knockdown blocks. Hustling downfield, and we've been preaching it over. We're really hard on them last week, and I thought the outside receivers responded really well and playing really, really hard the entire game. I mean, they got after those corners and safeties all night long in the run game, and it showed. We had a lot of runs that bounced and hit in spots, and it was because we had a man on the outside, and Jakeem and Bradley did an excellent job as well. But we preach over and over, we're an extension of the run game, the wide out position, and I thought it really showed.
Is that going to be this upcoming week, especially against Arkansas?
Yeah, it's going to be huge, just like it is every week. And, with how our offense is set up and when we get good run boxes, the quarterback has the freedom to check runs at any time. So we kind of take what they give us, but it's going to be huge all week. And for us to eliminate those guys, and if we can get these running backs that we have right now onto safeties, they've been showing some really good things and making them miss on the perimeter. And, Justin has a different gear than running backs we've had here in the recent past, and so it's fun to watch him in the open field. And we got to take great pride in that and continue to not be selfish and give our bodies up for the greater good of the team.
DJ and Devin, Davis obviously tried to get you to both those guys downfield. And as far as missing, was it a footwork thing, or was it the wind getting it with y'all going into the wind a little bit? Yeah,
obviously, they weren't perfect, but the guys on the outside, I thought our Z's did a great job at adjusting the balls and having good body control. And that's something we have to address and get better at the X. The X didn't have any catches, and that's something we pride ourselves on around here is all these guys getting the ball in their hands. And so, they played press man a large majority of the game, and so we got to win on some of those deep balls, and those guys have to do a better job at adjusting to it, and that gives us a better opportunity to get PIs or catch the football, and we just got to continue to work that out.
7 first quarter points this season over 2 games. Just how do y'all get off to a faster start offensively?
Yeah, something we talk about all the time, and some different things. Some of it might be, we get them into some runs a little bit earlier and get some quick game and things like that. And just, we just got to settle down at first. It seems like every game, our whole team has been a little tight to start the games, and it's taken us a while to settle into the pace of the game. And that's something we got to get better at. I mean, we got to be able to score fast and score early and put our defense in good positions. I thought these first 2 games we haven't played well together as a team at all. There's some peaks, some highs and lows for both sides where we're doing some really good things, but when they're getting 3-and-outs and stops, we're not scoring after that, and when we're scoring, they're letting them go back down the field and score. So just collectively as a team, special teams, offense and defense, we have to do a better job rising up together and putting those things together, and then that allows us to get momentum as a team and get on track and start, putting some scores on the board and stopping them at the same time.
How big is it for you guys that the run game is starting to play a more increased role in the offense this season?
I think it's the same. We've added, and we obviously ran the ball more, so you saw it more on Saturday. I don't remember exactly, 39 or so times we ran the football, which is a lot more than around here than usual. So, so I think that's why it jumped out. But like I said, really proud of the effort. And there's a couple times here and there, where we did miss our guys, but it was never because of effort. It was a little bit more technique things, and I can deal with that. We can fix them on film, and we got to continue to get better. And these young guys got to continue to grow. But the effort was there all night.
Obviously, he's still learning, Davis Webb, but how close do you think he is to maybe putting together a more complete game like you see on the practice field every day?
Yeah, I think really close, and it's just a matter, you watch it on tape, of him just settling down a little bit. Just from footwork to making throws that we've seen him make over and over and over, and getting a little bit anxious and overthrowing people just by a smidget. We missed Jakeem in the end zone for, nobody's even covering him. They drop coverage, and he's standing wide open in the end zone, and we throw it out of bounds. Stuff like that where we see over and over in practice where he makes those throws, and we just got to transfer over to the game, and he's got to do it. That's part of our game here is spreading the ball around and throwing it, and he made some really good throws, and then some things he'd definitely rather have back.
Arkansas with their defensive line and just their front seven in general, what do you expect out of them pressure-wise and then coverage-wise behind that?
They haven't shown just a ton of pressure in these first two games. Nicholls State, they didn't really need to. They kind of just stopped them playing pretty base and playing coverage behind it. They're a lot bigger. They're bigger up front. They're more physical. Their defensive ends are a lot better than what we've seen so far this year, so our tackles will definitely have a challenge for them. Linebackers are bigger and more physical than what we've seen. So in the run game, we'll really have to be technical sound with those inside guys getting on them and creating space for our guys. But we're just going to have to play pretty fast and get lined up and not allow them to get into some blitz formations. That's kind of what Auburn did. They played fast, so forced them to play base a little bit. But I'm excited to see what we can do and see what we can manufacture in the run and pass game this week.
How big of a game is it for LaRaven going against probably a guy like Trey Flowers?
Yeah, I think he'll be up for the challenge, and LaRaven's a guy that's been in from day one this year. We moved him guard, he never said a word. We moved him outside, never said a word. A guy that's a quiet guy, handles his business. And obviously, he'll have a chance probably after this year, if he continues to play well, to get a good grade and make some money doing this thing. So, that's something with those guys that goes unsaid. They're going to be pretty fired up and want to show what they can do and put some good tape out there for the scouts to see. Yeah, I think so. Just like we talked about last week, Dominique physically could be as good as anybody we have. And so we're just trying to keep developing him and bring him along. And obviously he had the 2 holding penalties, which were both technique issues, and got a little tired towards the end when we kept going. So, we'll continue probably to try a rotation in there and get those guys and keep them fresh. And that allows us to get Dominique game reps and let those other 2 guys who have a lot of experience continue to battle. And so, I think you'll continue to see 3 guys until one proves himself to be a dominant force in there and can handle every snap.